Let me ask you something. Have you ever looked at the 1%, the billionaires, the tycoons, the wealth giants, and thought, what do they know that I don't? Here's the truth. It's not luck. It's not timing. It's not privilege. It's strategy. It's mindset. It's decision. And today, you're going to learn exactly how to invest like the 1%, even if you're just starting from zero. Most people believe that wealth begins with money, but the truth is, it begins with mindset. The 1% don't simply have more capital. They have a different psychology, a different emotional relationship with money, and a fundamentally different way of thinking about opportunity, risk, and growth. While the average person thinks in terms of scarcity, worrying about what they might lose or how little they have, the wealthy think in terms of ***, abundance ***, and ***, leverage ***. They don't ask, can I afford this? They ask, how can I create this? That shift in perspective changes everything. You see, if your mindset is focused on limitation, you'll subconsciously reject opportunities. You'll hesitate. You'll hold back. Even if someone handed you a winning investment strategy, you might not act on it. Or you might self-sabotage it, because your inner programming isn't aligned with success. The top 1% trained themselves to think differently. They've conditioned themselves to seek growth, to stay calm under pressure, and to take calculated risks with clarity. They don't view setbacks as failures, but as data. They reframe challenges as feedback. That mindset allows them to stay in the game long enough to win. People often ask, what stocks should I buy? Or where should I invest my money? But the real question should be, how do I think like someone who makes winning investments? That's where everything changes. Because when you shift your mindset, your behavior follows. You stop waiting for permission. You stop consuming every dollar you earn, and you start playing a different game. The wealth game. Think of mindset as the foundation of a skyscraper. Without it, no amount of wealth on top can last. This is why lottery winners go broke and self-made millionaires bounce back from bankruptcy. The money isn't the power. The asterisk thinking asterisk is. If you want to invest like the 1%, you don't start with the stock market. You start by investing in the way you see the world. Challenge your limiting beliefs. Surround yourself with people who elevate your standards. Read the books, learn the strategies, but more importantly, train your mind. Because once your mind is built for abundance, the money will follow. And the best part, you don't need to be rich to think rich. You just need to decide. The greatest investment you will ever make isn't in the stock market, real estate, or cryptocurrency. It's in yourself. That might sound cliché, but it's a foundational truth the 1% live by. Before they ever became wealthy in dollars, they became wealthy in mindset, knowledge, skills, and discipline. Most people spend their lives trying to find the perfect opportunity, the secret investment, or the next big thing. But the most successful individuals know that ***, they ***, are the asset. When you grow your value, your income and your investment capacity grow with it. Think about it. A person with a poor financial mindset could be handed $100,000 and still end up broke in a year. But someone who's mastered themselves, who has built discipline, knowledge, and decision-making ability, can take $1,000 and multiply it. The real power doesn't come from what you have. It comes from who you are. And who you are is shaped by what you feed your mind and how you build your habits. Tony Robbins often says, if you're not growing, you're dying. Growth is the single biggest force behind all wealth. The 1% never stop learning. They read. They attend seminars. They hire coaches. They study human behavior, markets, leadership, and psychology. Not because it looks good on a resume, but because they understand one thing most people miss. Asterisk, your ability to earn and invest is directly tied to your personal growth. Asterisk, you can only build a portfolio as strong as the mind managing it. Investing in yourself doesn't have to mean spending thousands on courses or certifications. It could mean reading one powerful book that shifts how you think about money. It could mean waking up 1 hour earlier to study financial principles. It could mean developing communication skills, discipline, or emotional intelligence. These are the invisible investments that compound the fastest, and the return on investment, it's exponential. When you improve yourself, every other area of life improves. Your confidence, your decision making, your income potential, and yes, your ability to invest wisely. If you're brand new and don't know where to start, this is the first and most important step. Bet on you. Build the asset that builds the future. Because unlike any stock, property, or trend, you are the one investment that never loses value. One of the most powerful concepts the 1% use to build wealth is understanding asymmetrical risk-reward. While most people think investing is about avoiding risk entirely, the wealthy think differently. They look for situations where the potential upside dramatically outweighs the downside. This principle is how they grow their wealth exponentially while keeping losses minimal. They don't throw money at everything hoping something works. Instead, they carefully select opportunities where they can risk a little and potentially gain a lot. It's not gambling, it's strategic leverage. The average person tends to focus on security rather than opportunity. They might keep all their money in a savings account earning minimal interest because it feels safe. But safety often comes at the cost of growth. The 1%, on the other hand, are trained to evaluate the quality of the risk. They ask themselves, what's the worst that could happen, and what's the best possible outcome? If the upside is 5 to 10 times greater than the risk, and they understand the investment well, they move forward decisively. This doesn't only apply to financial investments. Asymmetrical risk-reward shows up in decisions like starting a business, acquiring a new skill, launching a side hustle, or creating digital content. In many of these situations, your downside might be some time and effort, but the upside could be life, changing income, freedom, or influence. The 1% are always scanning for these unfair advantages, places where the return is out of proportion to the cost. People often miss opportunities because they overestimate the downside and underestimate their ability to recover. But here's what the wealthy understand: failure isn't final unless you quit. They use small losses as learning moments and keep betting smart on opportunities with major upside. That's how they win big, not through one massive victory, but through dozens of small, intelligent bets that stack over time. To think like the 1%, you need to train yourself to see these opportunities. Ask better questions, do your research, stay curious, and most importantly, take action when you spot asymmetrical potential. Don't let fear of loss keep you stuck, because the truth is, you don't need a fortune to get ahead. You just need the wisdom to know where to place your next move. That's how the 1% play, and that's how you begin to win. One of the most consistent habits among the wealthy is incredibly simple, yet most people ignore it. They pay themselves first. Before they spend money on bills, entertainment, or even necessities, they set aside a portion for investing and wealth building. This one discipline separates those who build lasting financial freedom from those who live paycheck to paycheck, no matter how much they earn. The concept is simple. When money comes in, the first person who gets paid is ***, not the landlord, not the grocery store, not your internet provider, you. This mindset shift is powerful because it prioritizes your future over your impulses. Most people do the opposite. They pay everyone else first and save or invest whatever is left. But the truth is, there's never anything left when that's the approach. The wealthy understand that if you want to build wealth, you have to make it automatic. That's why so many of them set up automatic transfers into their investment accounts the moment income arrives. It's not about the amount. It's about consistency. Even $10 or $50 a week invested consistently creates momentum. And over time, that momentum compounds into something significant. It's not the size of your income that matters. It's the habit of saving and investing regularly. A person earning a modest salary who consistently pays themselves first can build more wealth over time than someone making six figures who saves nothing. This is the power of discipline over dollars. The act of paying yourself first also reinforces your identity as an investor. You stop seeing yourself as someone who's just trying to get by and start seeing yourself as someone who is building a future. That internal shift creates external results. You don't need to wait until you have enough to begin. Start now, even if it's just a few dollars. The practice itself will change your life. It builds confidence. It creates space between you and financial stress. It teaches you to live below your means while growing beyond your limitations. Over time, this habit becomes second nature, and the results speak for themselves. The wealthiest people in the world didn't get there overnight. They got there by honoring the principle of putting their future self first. You can do the same, starting today. The wealthy don't follow the crowd when it comes to investing. They don't jump into trends just because they're popular, and they definitely don't throw money into something they don't understand. One of the most important principles the top 1% live by is this: only invest in what you truly understand. It may sound simple, but this one rule protects them from massive losses and gives them a serious edge over emotional, uninformed investors. When you don't understand an investment, you're not in control. You're guessing. You're relying on someone else's opinion, the media, or hype. And that's a recipe for disaster. The world is full of noise. Every day there's a new hot investment, a trending cryptocurrency, a stock that's about to explode, a get-rich quick business model. And it's tempting to jump in, especially when you see others making fast money. But the truth is, most of those people lose it just as fast. The 1% resist the temptation because they know something critical. If you can't explain it simply, you don't understand it well enough to invest in it. And if you don't understand it, you can't manage it, adjust it, or recover from a loss if things go wrong. Instead, the wealthy focus on areas where they have insight, knowledge, or a clear plan. They take the time to study. They read, ask questions, and surround themselves with mentors or experts in the field. They learn the language of the investment. That's why when they do invest, they move with confidence and clarity, not fear and confusion. It's not about being an expert in everything. It's about mastering what you choose to engage with. That mastery gives you an advantage most people will never have. This mindset applies whether you're investing in stocks, real estate, business, or even yourself. If you're new, don't be in a rush to jump into the latest trend. Start with what makes sense to you. Focus on building understanding before chasing returns. Because long-term success in investing comes not from luck or timing, but from making informed, intelligent decisions repeatedly over time. The wealthy don't guess. They learn and then they execute, and you can do the same. Understanding isn't just power. When it comes to investing, it's protection, profit, and peace of mind. One of the biggest lies people tell themselves about wealth is that they'll start someday. Someday when they have more money, someday when they feel ready, someday when things settle down. But the truth is, someday isn't a day on the calendar, it's a trap. The people who build real wealth, the top 1%, don't wait until conditions are perfect. They start where they are with what they have. They understand that action beats intention every time. You don't need to know everything. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to start. Waiting for the perfect moment is a form of fear in disguise. Fear of failure, fear of making a mistake, fear of looking foolish. But here's the reality. The greatest investors in the world didn't begin as experts. They began as beginners who were willing to take imperfect action. They didn't wait until they had the perfect plan. They moved forward with courage and adjusted along the way. And that's exactly what separates the doers from the dreamers. Execution creates experience. Experience builds wisdom, and wisdom leads to mastery. Every day you wait is a day you delay your freedom. Every dollar you don't invest is a dollar that misses the chance to compound. Time is either your greatest ally or your greatest enemy, and you get to choose. The earlier you start, the more power you give to compound growth, both financially and personally. And starting doesn't have to mean making a huge investment. It can mean reading your first financial book. It can mean opening a basic investment account. It can mean setting aside your first $10. The action doesn't need to be big, it just needs to be real. Momentum is the magic most people never access because they're too busy waiting. But momentum doesn't come from knowing more, it comes from doing more. One decision, one bold step, and change the entire trajectory of your life. The top 1% understand that clarity comes through action, not the other way around. They step in, learn from doing, and grow with each move. If you want to invest like the wealthy, you have to stop standing on the sidelines. Start today, even if it's small. Because the moment you begin, you shift from wishful thinking to intentional building. And that's where real wealth begins.